Good Monday. I'm Chris Vogt. This is Monday Morning Jolt. Let's get started. Sharona?
Good morning. With us today here is Adam Marshall.
Good morning.
And good morning. This is the first time we have been looking to have a person who can really fix computers. So, and also a patient one, because people are sometimes unreasonable when it comes to getting their computers fixed.
Well, they can't communicate.
They can't communicate.
Usually.
So that's why he's here, and he's
Good.
very calm. And so I know you do things just besides fixing computers. So tell us more about what you do and what's the business.
Well, our business is Midwest Technology Solutions, and we started in 2004. We cover the entire city of Fort Wayne and the surrounding areas. We specialize in a few key areas. Obviously, your computer service and support are paramount with any system you get. We have a little bit of a unique niche because I don't just service a particular platform, but the two dominant platforms, the Windows platform as well as the Mac OS platform. So being an Apple technician has a whole other field of clientele. And we also sell the machines. We handle your total IT solutions, your networking, your printer service, your server maintenance, your email, and your web hosting and maintenance. And we do a certain level of web development and have a programming team that can help you even put together a pretty nice website.
Awesome.
Great. Well, one of the things that we want to ask you about, because this is Monday Morning Jolt, obviously, is why Mondays, if they are great for you, or do you do a 24/7 job?
I do a job that, even though we may have set store hours from about 8 to 5, it can run pretty much as you want to answer that phone. You have people that are going to call you at all times of the day, the weekend.
Probably Christmas Day too.
No, you get those too, the holidays, you know, especially they open the new toys and they fire them up and they go, oh, it doesn't work, we got to call the guy, you know.
Guy.
And you know, usually it follows with, oh, I'm sorry to call you, I know it's supper time, I know it's bedtime, I know it's 3 in the morning. And you learn over time how to manage that aspect of a business. I think when you run a small business, I don't think you ever turn the volume completely off, but you learn how to turn it down. And we do offer some specialty services with some of our business clients. Contracted service is a big one. And in those elements where we have a large service agreement in place with a company, they have the added luxury of knowing that when they call, the call is going to be taken and it's not just going to voicemail.
That's great. So do you do something to really prepare yourself for your week, the things that you know have to be completed even though you have emergency calls? And
I try to mentally prepare on a daily basis for what's coming, because one thing that's always a constant in our industry is change. So while you plan and you schedule your service and your clients and your visitations, you're going to have inevitably every day certain calls that come in that dictate the dynamic of how your day unfolds. So really it's not just planning to get psyched up on a Monday, but you know, you get charged every morning and you look at the plan ahead and see how much it's evolved from the day before.
all right.
So we were talking about this other day. You were sharing a story with me, like how people react and do things in the computer industry.
Oh,
and then how you handle this situation.
Well, I think it's funny when you look at our industry, and there are a lot of industries that have certain heavy stresses with them. Our industry is unique that we touch about every facet of personal and professional life in some way, because computers drive everything. You need one to run the cash register, you need one to check your email, you need one to check the ATM. And we as a society, as people, become so dependent on that, that when that doesn't happen, it goes out of the norm and suddenly you're offline. We go into panic mode, really do. And as I told you the other day, while it's not quite the same, and I by no means compare it to life and death, there is a certain mindset that I take from some of my friends that are medical professionals. You know, you think in loose terms that, well, this is the computer doctor, just like you go to the doctor when you break your arm. So knowing that, and knowing that there's a psychology that kind of goes in that role, you have to be prepared for a very broad range of emotion. You're going to have clients that call you, of course, for new projects, but many times you're going to have clients that call you because all of a sudden, oh my gosh, the email doesn't work, and the server's down, and the computer's dead, and what do I do? It's the end of the world. Well, we know it's not the end of the world, but in that same mindset, just like if you break your arm and go to the doctor, you're not really going to socialize, and you're not happy to see them. You know, you're just like, I need this fixed bone sticking out.
Now!
Yeah, you know, so you have to, in that industry, you have to have a kind of thick skin and broad shoulders and understand that a lot of the anxiety and frustration that a customer has is because of that moment, you know, that HP, that Windows software or that Mac OS, whatever it is, they are just furious about that, and you unfortunately get to be the bearer of the brunt of that. But as I said, you know, if you learn to not take that anxiety personally, and you know, the notion being that if you do a good job, they're going to love you when you're done. You know, it's very easy to do that job, but if you take those kind of emotional outbursts, if you will, personally, then you're in the wrong industry.
Well, and you can look at it this way, they're dependent upon you as well.
Oh,
their connection to the outside world.
It's a continuing circle. They're dependent on us, we depend on them, and you're only as good as your last job, really. So going into that, you put your best effort forward, and just like the doctor does when you go to him and you don't feel good or hurt, you know, you hope they do a good job for you.
So, I think that's great advice for business.
It is.
In general, not just the computer industry.
Don't take it that personally.
Yeah. Or like try to do your job.
That's right. Try to do the best job, but don't take outbursts personally. So do you have an adage by which you operate your business, live your life, that guides you, that inspires you?
I think that there are a couple of things that I carry with me through the course of a day. The one is to live each day the best way that you can, to your fullest potential, almost like it's your last day, because it may be your last day, you don't know it. And just as in sports, you know, we always said growing up and playing whatever activity you played, you know, if you may not have come in first place, but if you left everything on the field, you know, you did your best. And, you know, we leave it on the field. And, you know, truly, I think the other adage that resounds in my day is to have something that you enjoy doing. Because there are so many jobs out there that people get because maybe their industry shut down or they got laid off and they just get a job. But when you can find that little moment, and this is something I feel very fortunate and blessed to have that moment where what you like to do, someone will pay you to do, and then you can enjoy what you do for a job. That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I do think that's the ideal. I think it's hard for people to find that that match between what they love and what makes them money. So it's great advice, and I believe that that's true, because you get up every morning really excited if you love what you do. It's very difficult for people to find sometimes.
It is.
Superpowers. If you could pick a superpower, What would that be and why?
If I had a superpower, wow. I debated when I was younger about, you know, being able to climb the walls, but I think I drove my parents up the walls, so I don't want to do that. I would say my superpower would probably be super speed, because Lord knows the faster that you can get one of these babies back online, the happier everyone will be.
Everyone.
Absolutely. And the more of them you can get done, therefore you're getting paid a little faster.
That's right. And then tell us something about you that even your closest friends might be surprised about.
That most of my friends probably aren't aware of is that I have a incredible enjoyment for outdoor activity. And for, you know, the geeky outfit that I put on every day, the kind of Steve Jobs shirt that I wear. You know, when the weekend hits and I disconnect from it all, it's very possible you'll see me either with a fishing pole in hand or a camo hat and a deer stand. And to me, that is absolute tranquility. And you have to, whatever your thing is, you have to have one of those for a release.
Escape.
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise your job consumes you. And if you can find a way to incorporate your escape into a family activity so you can share it with your family.
Even better.
That's even better.
So, how do people get hold of you to do business with you?
Well, we have a number of ways that you can get a hold of us. The first is obviously the phone, and you can reach us at 260-409-5201. You can also find us online. The address is www.midwest-solutions.com. And you make sure you get that little hyphen in there. Sometimes people don't. Like, this page can't be displayed. Then you get a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, it's down. What do I do? We also have an office in Huntertown, right on the main strip of Lima Road, just north of the gas station. And you know, we're in there by appointment because I find that in my industry, there are many shops that you can just go and dump a computer off and go about your day. But because of the size that we are, the guys that work with me that I turn loose in the field as well as myself, we're out in the field just about every day. And we might be in Fort Wayne, we might be in Toledo, we might be in Indianapolis, we might be in Battle Creek, Michigan. And it just depends on who calls. And one thing that does kind of play as an advantage is that customers like that because they look at the gas pump and think, oh, I gotta drive that up to Huntertown, I don't want to do that. No, we just come to you and take care of it. And many times then, your machine doesn't have to leave the premises, you just deal with it there, just like when the guy comes to fix your furnace, you know, he doesn't take your furnace away, he just comes and does his job.
Right.
So that convenience factor is something I've tried very hard to implement, and I like it too because I'm not in a cubicle all day.
Right.
Yeah.
For the first, 5 years or so of my technical training, and just to paraphrase that, I've been in this industry for probably about 16 years as a technician, but at about the age of 7, and I'm 37 now, that's when I first got into computers. My school got a computer, I latched onto it. I became one of those kids that, because we didn't have tech support back in the early 80s, the teacher down the hall would jam the printer, so of course they're going to pull you out of class to see if you can help Mrs. So-and-so fix a computer. So I was very self-taught in my training up until and through high school and college. And once I got out into the real world, and I did broadcasting for about 5 years, working in television and radio, I saw the industry evolve, and everything became more and more automated and computer-driven.
Right.
I was fortunate that because of my self-training, when the stations I worked at began to implement automation and nonlinear editing, the owners, being notoriously cheap as owners tend to be, said, hey, we're going to have you guys hook it all up because then we don't have to pay a technician. That gave me some additional skill that when I saw I need to evolve my career more and not just be an on-air personality. Because I'm going to end up having to relocate to another market to stay in that job.
Right.
I had the good fortune of going to a company that's pretty well known around here called Sweetwater. And I started as an entry-level technician. Because of my background with digital audio workstations, they completed my training. And for that first 4 or 5 years that I was there, until I became their lead Mac tech, I was in a cubicle doing the tech support, fixing something on a bench and talking on a headset. And that's fine, you can do that, and it's a good training ground. But I love the fact that with our on-site service, I see a new place every day. And that's just part of being outdoors and getting out. And
So they can get you either through the website or your phone number to have you come to their
absolutely.
location.
Or they can meet us at the office. And certainly the phone rings off the hook, and we're very thankful for that. And I find that through the good work you do, doing a good job, that tends to generate a lot of testimonial and referral business. Just as the saying, you know, if you do a good job for someone, they're going to tell 3 or 4 people, and if you do a bad job for someone, they're going to tell 7 people.
That's right. That's the average.
The word of mouth promotion of our business has been far superior to any print and advertised medium that we've done, because those people, you know, are the best advertisement. And because of that, and because, you know, we strive really hard to do the best we can, and I always just disclaim my knowledge base by telling people I may not have every answer, but the thing I learned early on is, where do you start looking? Who do you call next? What's your next line of defense? And as long as you have that chain in place, it doesn't make your job a lot easier, but it does take a very awkward factor out of the formula. And there are a lot of technicians I've worked with over the years that were very good at what they did, but they weren't as quick to tap into their resources when they needed to. And sometimes they may not have shown their best face when they really had their best intentions.
So anyway, we would like to thank Adam for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we would like to
Very nice
thank
to meet you.
the audience and New Ground Coffee Company, where we are recording. Sometimes you can catch Adam having a cup of coffee there or something, or playing with his computer.
Every once in a while.
Again, thank you for listening. This is Monday Morning Jolt. Use it.